All right. Um, right. Welcome everyone to the third episode of the Shots podcast, featuring myself, Gaz Choudhry, Matt Scott, and the grumpiest man in the world right now, and Jake Williams.
Why am I grumpy?
I don't know. You tell us.
I don't know why. You just put out accusations for no reason now. I mean,
Look at that beautiful smile. Jake's never been grumpy ever.
never, ever been grumpy in my life.
Okay.
Of course not.
Of course not. Righto. Yeah, so first of all, let me just congratulate you two. Great achievement, winning the German title. Congrats.
Yeah, thanks, brother.
All right.
Yeah, see, look at that reaction by Jake. Not grumpy at all.
Nah, man, you just got to keep it moving. See,
Yeah, man. Hey, it's going on. Yeah.
we had our time to kind
I
of appreciate it and enjoy the achievement, but we got other things on our minds right now.
hear you. I hear you. But yeah, so now that that's out of the way, I thought we'll talk today. I know we spoke about it before. Talk a little bit about training because that's some of the messages that we get quite a lot of.
Definitely.
And the whole, how much physical training, how much skill-based training. I know there's quite a few guys out there that are putting the sort of stuff they do online for people to see. So there's a lot more resources available. So I don't know. Take it away. What do you guys think?
And you know what? I think the messages that I get, I mean, it kind of varies between people that have been playing for a while and people that have just kind of gotten started into it. And I think with the beginner, I think one of the first things that you need to understand how to do is move the chair. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of people get in the gym, they bounce the ball around a couple times, they take a couple jump shots, and they think that's all well and good, but that's not enough. Being able to propel your chair at an optimal level and just from move to point A to point B really quickly is a big way to become an elite athlete in this sport.
Yeah, there's no shortcuts to like the amount of pushing you got to do.
Yeah, for sure.
What do you think, Jake? Because you came in kind of later than me and Matt in terms of you were already. How old were you? Like 16 when you started playing?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you'd already played sport, like able-bodied sport and stuff, at a bit of a high level.
Yeah. I mean, definitely, like the chair skills are the most important part, and that was definitely the biggest challenge to get the hang of. I know for me, I worked on when I first got to college. I wanted to get good. I tried to work on my speed a lot, and it was really just a trial and error. I mean, I've tried, pushing like a couple miles a day, weightlifting, pulling weight sleds. And it's really just a trial and error because I think everyone's different. So you just got to figure out what's best for you. But the chair skills, man, really didn't start coming around until maybe, the 5th year, maybe. So, I mean, it takes a long time.
Right.
Yeah.
That's actually a good point. I mean, you mentioned, like Jake just mentioned, pushing miles and lifting weights and doing all that. I think becoming an elite athlete, especially in this sport, is so much more than just doing on-court workouts. I mean, you can tow each other. You can get a couple guys, push each other, get some weight behind your chair. You can do chair skills. You can, stop, go, push as much endurance as you want. But I think that combination of getting some, some strength, some endurance, and all that stuff, and just finding creative ways to push yourself, then I think that's what separates the good players from the great players.
I mean, it's interesting because there isn't a body type like in our sport. There doesn't seem to be like an optimum body composition or fat, body fat percentage or anything like that. There doesn't seem to be like an optimum thing. There's just so many different types of athletes in each classification.
Exactly.
But is there something that you see that's universal in the good athletes in this sport? Whether they are by kind of able-bodied basketball standards overweight or not as lean. I know you. I mean, you've been not as lean. You've been stronger. You've been more lean. There's been different times in your career that you've been different. Do you think there's anything that's...
I've been playing for a long time, and I've carried a few different body types. Just growing up, and but I think that in order to find what's optimal for you, you just got to like Jake said, it's a trial and error thing. But speed in this sport is king. Speed is king. strength is king in any sport. I think
Yeah.
you know. So I think the stronger you can become, you know, the better and the more optimally you can maneuver your chair is a you know that puts you way ahead of the game. And then I think also with that strength, you're able to become faster. So I think you know strength and speed are two of those things you need to work on the most.
Have you ever seen a guy come in that really wasn't quick? Like there was no natural quickness, and through training actually became really quick?
I've seen, man. There's so many examples of that.
Yeah,
so many examples of that. I mean, I'm sure you have as well. You know, I remember I don't people know Nate Hines on the team on Team USA. I remember watching him play wheelchair basketball for the first time. Watching him, you know, come into the gym, getting in a wheelchair, you know, being like, "Yo, I want to try this out. This is something for me." The slowest dude you've ever seen. You know, he had that. You know, we call it like that AB push. You know, they can't figure it out yet. They think it's all arms and it looks hilarious. And you know, everybody that actually knows how to play is cracking up. Yeah. But you know, you see the kid push now, man. He's beating some of the fastest people down the floor. And there's a million examples like that, man.
Yeah. I mean, nothing really comes to mind. I don't think I've been around long enough to really know from like when someone first started playing or whatever.
Well, you started playing late. Do you think your push, the way you maneuver your chair, is a lot different? I remember watching you play when I first saw you. You play so much differently.
I mean, I was still beasting though, but
no Mustangs.
No, I remember when I was in juniors, like my first junior tournament. I didn't know how to push. I saw one of my teammates, Ryan Hines. He had a really good push, and he like put his whole body into it, and I really couldn't do it. So I kind of just put like my back down and like my chest to my legs, and just kind of like pushed like that because I was like, how does he do it? You know. So it's definitely it. I mean, like I said, it takes a while for you to know how to do that, and it's just repetition over and over and over.
Do you guys feel like there's enough like information and enough? I guess information is the only word I'm looking for. But
I think there's a lot of useless information because, like, I know a lot of, and nothing against anyone that wants to try to do research, but there's a lot of information that tests that people try to put you through and everything. Because they're like, oh, we're gonna do research on your college team or something like that, and then we're gonna try to do the research. So we're gonna get like your 40-yard dash time, or see how many times you can lift this. And I think that's just useless information. I mean,
but do you think the reason why some of these kids reach out to the Paralympians and to the elite players, you think it's just because they don't have an outlet of information to how to get to the next level?
Yes.
I know there's things out there, like I know Pat's doing his like skills with Pat on Saturdays, and actually I think that's kind of the only thing. But I don't know, I've seen it a couple times, and I'm not sure that it's like people that are just getting into the game. I'm not sure that it's teaching them how to get to that level. Like making a half court shot with with your eyes closed and a dog chain to your chair and all that stuff. That's all cool, but like how do you get to that point? It's really tough.
Yeah, there's a lot of party tricks. Like that's the thing. Like I think the interesting thing that Jake said was he did everything, and long pushes, short sprints, toes, everything else. I think that part is just can't be understated. Like I think you have to go through almost bad like the way if I go back to thinking about how I trained when I was first getting into the national team and how our ex-coach Murray Tressler used to make us train. In terms of the level of pushing, the amount of pushing. And the year I went to Puerto Torres, the sort of training I was doing, it's insane. Like, I would think now it's absolutely wrong. Like, I was doing a lot of wrong things.
Yeah.
Right? Just, like, in the morning doing, like, a 3-mile push, then lifting, then shooting, and then having a club session in the evening every day. That's not optimal. And I could have probably done better with my time.
But as a younger athlete, though, it made you realize what you were capable of and how hard you could push yourself.
Exactly, and I think in terms of once you become an elite athlete, I think you can periodize your training a lot more and you can be real specific. But I think, especially starting out, for me, an advice that I always say to young people is this: just push. You just have to do those repetitions and just shoot. Just, what shooting drills do you do? I get asked that quite a lot. Or what ball? And my thing is just do as much as you can, and you have that base, like sort of stuff that Jake is saying.
I think a huge thing of developing too, and you guys step in if you don't agree with me at all. But I think being around an elite athlete can really improve your game, because I think let's say you're playing for some Division III, Division IV team, and you're playing around Division III, Division IV players, but you're getting better. But are you really getting that better? Like, nobody's pushing you. You're sort of, maybe you're leveling up, or but maybe they haven't improved. So I think when you get around an elite athlete, he kind of he or she shows you how to maneuver from point A to point B, how to make a hook pass with your non-dominant hand, how to drive the lane and finish with contact. I think those sort of things let you see what's actually capable, and then you push yourself to be that. And when you have an actual somebody leading by example, I think I think that really pushes it. I remember being a kid and watching Paul Schulte play. I was a Michigan kid. When Paul Schulte came back to town from Texas, it was like, oh my God, like, look what this guy can do. And that made me want to be more.
Yeah, I had the same kind of thing in that way.
Yeah, I mean, that's what your teachers teach you in school all the time. I mean, you are like the company you keep. So if you hang out with goobers, I mean, you become a goober. I mean, that's just what it is. I mean,
I ain't talking about going to the corner store. I'm talking about playing basketball.
I mean, but it's basically the same principle. I mean, it's what you're saying. If you hang around like goober players, I mean, how are you going to get any better?
I completely agree.
Yeah, I hear that.
I agree there.
Yeah, but that mentoring thing is important though as well. It's just not. I think it's not just necessarily like you're saying, making the specific skill. But I know, and even now, being around other elite athletes and how they approach stuff, that rubs off on you, even if you don't know it.
It's true.
Yeah,
and how you approach the game and whatnot, and everyone has different approaches.
If I was in a training session with people that were well under my skill level, and I took some plays off, I might not even notice that I took those plays off.
Yeah.
But if I'm in the practice with, let's say, my team now, if I take those plays off, it's the difference between winning or losing, getting beat up and down the floor, making yourself look silly. So, as you play with higher level players, you have to, push yourself to another level.
Yeah. Do you think that we have enough experience across the board, or we do a good enough job of sharing information in terms of the development of athletes from a coaching perspective? Do you think coaches have enough know-how and enough experience to cater for teams? Because I know I've been part of teams, and there's athletes that are at different levels within a team, and oftentimes, and I understand that it's all about the weekend for us. We have to win a game or not win the game. So I understand that most of the attention dollars are going towards that for the coach. But do you think that we, as a sport, can be much better at facilitating the growth of all the athletes if coaching had a better understanding of the different points that each athlete's at in their career or in their season?
I think there's levels to that, right? So me coming from America, and the way that the NWBA works is, you go from this junior level to where you could have somewhere between a knowledgeable coach to a chaperone. Like, it could be anywhere in between. Yeah. Okay. But then you upgrade to the college, the collegiate level, and you have some pretty knowledgeable coaches. I think as of right now, I think the NWBA college division has some of the better coaches that it's seen. Obviously there's some legendary coaches that left, with Tracy Centerwith and Mike Frogley and all those guys. But I think there's a lot of they prioritize playing the game right. Like, when I went to UW Whitewater, if I made, let's say I'm dribbling down the court, right? We're on a 2-on-1, me and you guys. You're right in front of me. There's a defender between us. If I was to make this pass with my inside hand, doesn't matter if it made it to you or not, and you completed a layup, I was coming out of the game.
Yeah.
Shout out to Tracy Centerwith, because he showed me how to play the game right. I wasn't supposed to come down and make this behind the back pass. And, you know, it wasn't about flash. It wasn't about doing things that look cool. It was about doing things right. If I was dribbling the ball down the court and somebody stopped me, I was taught to bounce stop and control my chair before I continue.
Yeah.
I'm told to stop an offensive player before I challenge them with my hands, not just come and, you know, just haphazardly reach like I usually do.
Yeah.
I think you learn how to play the game right at college, and that's sort of along the lines of what you were talking about.
Yeah, I mean, that's the big advantage, right? I mean, if you know, when we talk about programs that produce fundamentally sound players, the US college system has been the best. I know we had a chat about that, and I think we're going to have a probably more detailed chat, a future episode about the college experience and whatnot.
Sure.
But in term, I mean, the benefit of the college is that most of the athletes you have are in the same position in their development almost. They're all college athletes. I mean, how does that translate to? I mean, take the example, say, of your current team. You know, you may have. I mean, I don't know if you do, but you may have like a young kid that's got a lot of talent, and he's training with you guys. He's he's from the town that you guys are playing in. Right. He requires a slightly different training schedule to say you and Jake do. So Jake may require something different. You know, Jake may be okay with taking 250 shots in the morning, you know, to be sharp for the game. Whereas this kid probably requires 500 shots in the morning. And how do you think that we have enough? And on that scale, you know, on that spectrum, people are everywhere.
Right.
You know, you can be, you know, I'm talking about the starter to the mid, you know, whatever. You may have signed an athlete that's a developmental athlete for your team. You know, that you know in 2 years he's going to be great for that team. Similar to if you look at how Haluski, shout out Haluski, who had a great game as well. Yeah. But, I mean, as one of the best 4-5s in the world, you know, when he got to Turingen, he was a developmental process. And that's taken all those years. Do you think that, and a lot of that is credit to him developing, just like for every athlete, but say you had another one of those now. Do you think that we in our sport have enough an understanding to how that development process goes while still incorporating and taking advantage of the fact that there is a Haluski there that can mentor this kid? There is a Jake Williams and a Matt.
I don't think, well, coming from America, obviously, from the junior program and college program, I've had some great coaches. I mean, like Jeremy Lottie, he really helped me get my game to the next level. But he also played the game, so he could actually like tell me, you know, like what to do, and like he could really, you know, say, hey, if you're thinking this, then do this. And I've also had some bad coaches that, you know, came from AOBI basketball that were like a chaperone basically. But and looking at the last time I went to the NWBA tournament was I think like 2 or 3 years ago, and watching the junior programs, I think coaches now prioritize winning those junior games more than the development of their actual players. Because when I look at them, I see all 5 people playing defense under the key in like a box, and that teaches passive habits, and it really doesn't help them with moving their chair at all, which we already said was the most important thing. And I think you can see that development as the kids go to college now. So those college coaches have a lot more work to do to break those bad habits, because if a kid is just sitting in a box for 10 years, they get to college and they're like, oh, I got to move my chair now, you know? Yeah. So I think that's a lot of what's happening right now from what I see. And I think we're teaching players develop bad habits, but I think we're now coaching bad habits because we want to win a junior game more than actually develop a kid for, you know, college or internationally or whatever.
I want to kind of pull it back. You know, you mentioned Haluski as a developmental player, and now sitting in the wonderful position that he is right now as one of the, you know, top players to play the game. Mm-hmm. So the thing about him is that he works like a dog. Like, I mean, the dude shoots thousands of shots. He's always focused. He's a true professional. There's nothing he wouldn't do to make himself better. You know, if the gym's dirty, he's gonna mop it, and then he's gonna come and shoot for an hour, and then he's gonna make sure everything's all good. He works so hard, and there's so many players like that work so hard, and maybe they weren't the most talented players. Like I never saw Haluski when he first started playing, but I'm watching videos and looking at pictures, and he looks hilarious. Like like it looks hilarious, and for him to turn himself from that into what he is now, like just swagging out on everybody, man, that takes some work, and you can't teach that to everybody. So I think the information is out there. Like people can tell you, like, hey, do this, like you said, shoot 250 shots, shoot 500 shots, get some volume in, lift weights, eat right, do all these things. But you could, man, how many talented players have you seen? I know you guys are sitting because we've had this conversation. How many talented players have you seen come and go because they could move their chair real good, they could do all this, but they just didn't have the drive inside of them. They talked all this game like, I want to be a great player, but that was all here, and it was not in here. They didn't want it. Yeah. So, I mean, that's what separates it, man. Like, you have to want it. Like, screw all this information and stuff. Jake said, like, he didn't have no information. He hopped in his chair and pushed 3 miles. Yeah. You don't need no information for that. Yeah. What information do you need for that? Work hard. Yeah. You even said it a minute ago. Murray had you guys pushing, all this crazy stuff. I did the same thing, man. Tracy Chenoweth had us attaching sleds to the back of our chairs, and we were pushing up hills and doing all this crazy stuff that at sometimes, like when I'm sitting there at 6 a.m. exhausted, just wondering how is this making me a better basketball player. And now I'm sitting here with the accomplishments that I have, and I'm just like, thank you.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
but do you ever think back to I know I do. Do you ever think back to those days and you think, like, I remember we used to do like a 3-mile uphill push, then we'd train straight to a training session. We'd do like 100 up and backs at the end of that session because it's like 10 up and backs for every missed layup during a 2-hour session. Then go for lunch, then do another set, like running 3 or 4 days, probably doing 500 up and backs on top of all the training and hill pushes. Do you ever wonder now at this age, Matt, like, how the hell did we manage that?
You know what? I mean, it's funny what you're capable of when you put your mind in it.
For sure.
It's funny what you're capable of. You said it earlier. I don't think it was necessarily optimal. I don't think I need to push up a hill to, do all this. I don't think I need to pull these sleds. No. But it definitely, it creates a certain type of character. It establishes a different mentality. Your focus changes. When you work so damn hard, you're not going to give up anymore because you've been working too hard for this, man. Like you're like, yo, this is what I've been working for. Like nobody's going to move me from this. Yeah. It's just, it takes that, and I don't think everybody has that character.
True. But going into that, like, so I know for myself, like injuries and how that's affected, and even the strength work. So before we get into injuries, actually, I want to get your thoughts on this. There are things that I see people doing in the gym in our sport that don't necessarily translate to basketball, like functionally. Right. And I know, like, certain programs have S&C coaches and there's trial and error and stuff like that. But there are certain things that, I mean, you're welcome to do them. Not everything you do in the gym has to be functional.
Right.
You can do stuff to look good too. There's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
But do you think that there is actually a lack of information in terms, especially the strength work, that goes along in the gym that's actually functional? So, for example, I mean, I don't know, they might see you doing some curls in a gym, like in a video or something. That exercise that you're doing may just be your add-on to the end of your workout. That isn't necessarily your function. That's not your actual functional basketball. That's just your. So Jake was doing his traps before this video because he's wearing a tank again. But that was just not as functional stuff. That was just aesthetics or whatever. That might just be a throwaway at the end. He's got some time. He's going to do some curls or something like that. Do you think that we have a responsibility as athletes to put more stuff out there to help younger athletes develop in the gym that's functional?
What do you think, Jake?
I don't think we have a responsibility. I think that it's nice to, and I think that I mean, seriously, I mean, just because you're good, you don't have a responsibility to make everyone else good.
But I'm saying the general information out there's not much. There's a lot of pushing drills and stuff.
But I know that being a good athlete puts you on a certain platform, and I think once you're on that platform, it would be nice to see if everyone uses their platform to help be a role model for younger kids, whether it's basketball or not. So I think that more people should absolutely do it. Maybe if it's just writing like what they did for the day or something like that. I know Paul Schulte used to do that. He had some website, and I actually did a bunch of his workouts when I first started playing. So I know that was really good for me. But other than that, I couldn't really find anything else. So I mean, I think once you are good, I don't think you have a responsibility, but I think it would be nice if you did that, though.
It's funny because I don't necessarily think there's that much information out there, but I tend to agree with Jake on this. Is I don't think it's anybody's responsibility, and I agree with the other point that we have this platform, that we should share. We should share it with each other and the people that come after us. If Jake shares a workout video, I know it's not for me. I know it's not for me. It's for it's for the kids that are under me or the girls that are watching.
Yeah, it's for the ladies that are gonna slide in the DMs.
Let's keep it real. Whatever, let's keep it real. Anyway,
Instagram girls. I hear that can get you in trouble.
That's what I heard.
Yeah.
With
it's a small world.
With the lack of information that's out there. You also that's what I want to talk about. I'm rambling a little bit, but but you were saying, sometimes people they're doing these things that aren't necessarily they don't really work out for what happens in the game. They're not.
And it's dangerous. I've seen kids like doing sort of stuff that you see like in the men's health magazines and stuff like that. Yeah. Or like weighted dips and stuff. As a wheelchair basketball athlete.
Yeah. Like it doesn't. It's not applicable. No. What you're saying,
and it can hurt you.
But my question to you is it making that kid stronger? Are the muscles developing? Is he becoming a stronger athlete? Then I think it's fully applicable. I think if you're doing all a bunch of curls or even traps, maybe when you stop your chair a little bit, maybe you're gonna stop it with some force.
Yeah, sure.
And you're gonna look good when you're doing it. I think that some of those lifts and things that aren't necessarily applicable to the sport, they still have quite a bit of muscle development involved. Yeah. And if you're becoming a stronger athlete, you're becoming a better athlete any day of the week.
So this goes back to the point that we said that we don't know what's optimum in our sport as an athlete. You've seen all body types dominate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think you have to, like, the point you're making is, like, for our sport where it's at, you have to be fit and strong.
Right.
Right. You have to be fit and strong.
Right.
But short of that, we don't really know, like, what's optimum. So, like, for example, like, I don't know, do you know when you were at your best in terms of what weight you have to be, all that kind of stuff? And you may know yourself because you've been playing a long time. Like, I kind of know when I'm in shape and when I'm not in shape.
Yeah, it's clear to you, like
yourself, for sure.
You know when you're playing well. When you're feeling good. That's the important part is that when you're feeling good, because when you feel good, you perform well. Man, I just think that, it's tough to think about, when over the span of a lengthy career. Yeah. It's hard to think about like what was the best or what was the optimal. But I know that I'm constantly striving for that, and I guess my answer to that would be that I'm still trying to reach it.
Yeah.
No matter how many years go by, how many how old I get, I'm still trying to strive to be the best. I've got that best is yet to come sort of mentality. But with that being said, like you said, there's so many people that dominate with different weight classes.
I have a question.
What's up?
Do you think that being on a vegan diet is optimal for performance?
Do I?
Does anybody? I don't know. I'm asking it.
Yeah. I mean, there's Carl Lewis was vegan when he set his world record. The world
Did you just compare yourself to Carl Lewis?
No, you asked me about the diet. You didn't say to me.
Oh, okay.
You said about the diet itself. I think like any diet, I think the vegan diet, as long as you plan right, you get everything you need. You can be lazy on an omnivorous diet. You can be lazy on a vegan diet. You can be lazy on any diet. So, but yeah, there's no reason that you don't get everything you need.
But like, do you like what's the biggest challenge that you have to like make up for other areas in your nutrition with the vegan diet? Like more carbs or more protein or what?
Yeah, to be honest, like everything is super simple apart from when I'm traveling.
Yeah, I was just about to say
traveling is a pain. Like I'll give you an example. Like when we were in Cantu, I was having to have 2 bowls of pasta because their second course, which is your meat course, which are protein, I wasn't getting anything. And there's a broad trip for a week. There's only so much food I can travel with.
Yeah. We're not at a society that is very hospitable to special need diet.
For sure. So I was having to double up on get my calories mostly from carbs and refined carbs as a result. So, whatever dietary requirement you have, I think, me being a vegan on a vegan diet is not problematic apart from when I'm traveling. And then I have to take some precautions and as much and mitigate as much as I can.
That's you being completely aware though. Like you've educated yourself.
Yeah.
So when I first started playing, nutrition was, man, it was not only a joke for me. Like I just didn't care.
Yeah.
Like we would practice, and I remember our coach, man. He'd be like, "What are you guys going to do?" We'd be like, "Well, we're going to McDonald's."
Yeah.
And he would just shake his head, because he just knew. He knew something that we didn't.
Yeah.
But we're 18, 19, 20-year-olds with this fast metabolism. Go smashing a 20-piece wasn't ever going to. That wasn't ever going to affect us, and we didn't care.
Yeah.
No, if I had known then what I know now, I would have started the nutrition thing a lot sooner, much sooner. I know, the 3 of us are clearly, nutrition savvy, training savvy. Otherwise we wouldn't be in the position that we're in right now. But
with that being said, though, the McDonald's in Rio was awesome. I mean, in the village. Free McDonald's.
But moderation.
Yeah, you can eat what you want. Like, absolutely. As an athlete, you're training a lot. You can eat what you want. Is it optimum or not? And sometimes that mental break from not being optimum is needed too.
Yeah, I don't know if it's that necessarily. You can eat what you want, man. That's genetics, bro. That's genetics.
Yeah. No, I'm saying within reason. Like you're saying, you should be able to eat within reason.
Yeah.
Like eat what you want. Yeah.
I came into 2016 at a pretty good weight, a pretty good nutritional base.
Was that your leanest that you? Because I remember actually going back. I remember you getting injured a few years ago, and you were super lean as well. Like I remember you tried like a diet. I can't remember. It was like a intermittent fasting type of diet or something like that.
It was back in 2012. Is when I hurt my shoulder. And it was, to be honest, I think it was sort of a wild coincidence that I hurt myself, and I was also, trying to, make myself leaner and more fit. I think I was sort of a victim of my own motivation. We talked about earlier how you need to be creative, you need to get in the gym and push your ass, and you need to work, and you need to do this. That was my mentality. I'm like, yo, okay, I did a gym session this morning. I'm going to go get 1,000 shots up right now, and then I'm going to go get another lift in because nobody else is doing this. Yeah. You know what I mean? Then I wake up the next day and be like, oh, they say that I should work out 3 times a week. I'm working out 7. Like I'm going to be stronger than all of them, and it just had this wild mentality. I was also being really, really pushed as an athlete at that time in the circumstances that I was in. It was a really stressful environment that I was playing in. I wasn't in a good space. You know what I mean? I was just kind of like not really feeling myself and just kind of pushing myself harder because I wasn't happy with where I was at the time.
You didn't want to face it. You were just filling your day with training, and not actually have to deal with your mental state.
Absolutely. I hated it. That was back when I was playing with old GS, and anybody that knows me knows that didn't end very amicably. So it was just a bad time for me. So I was pushing myself, and and ended up just hurting myself, and then that was a bad time in my life. So I think anything that I could say about injury prevention is wear that motivation all you want, work as hard as you can, but you got to be smart. You got to educate yourself. It's got to be a combination of nutrition. It's got to be a combination of education. It's got to be a combination of training the skills and also training the strength. It can't just be one thing. You can't just be like, I want to be a great shooter, I'm gonna go shoot. Because if you haven't been working on your endurance, when you get down to that fourth quarter, your shot's gonna be terrible. Because you're not ready for that shot. But if you had you been working on those other things, had your nutrition been on point, had you been working on being stronger, you're gonna get past those guys, nail that shot whenever you need to. That kind of stuff's so important. And I wasn't at that point in my career. I was not at that point. I was at I need to push as hard as I can, basically running my head into a wall. And I ended up missing the Champions Cup because of it. I ended up missing. I came back for the Paralympics, which I was thankful for. But I want to say that it took me, even coming back from that injury. I mean, we play wheelchair basketball, man. We got two shoulders. These things are so valuable. I was at the point where I didn't know if I was going to return back to the player that I had once been. And even, I want to say even in London, I just wasn't sure. I just like, man, my arm just doesn't feel the same. I haven't gained that confidence back in my arm and the strength. It took a while to recover that from that injury. So
did you get any extra professional help in terms of rehabbing that shoulder?
Absolutely. We have a tremendous staff for the U.S. national team. Who had me doing all kinds of crazy stuff that you might think is super remedial, but I was on the wall and literally crawling up the wall like with my fingers to try to, because I literally couldn't do this. I couldn't, this wasn't possible. I had a stick to where I had to lift my, bro. It was so wild. It was so wild to go from feeling like you're the strongest you've ever been.
Yeah. What was your injury anyway? Do you know what exactly it was? What exactly did you do? What was
it was an overuse injury in my AC joint.
Okay.
So it was let me think of the medical term, which isn't really even that complicated. I don't know why it slips my mind. Oh, impingement. It was more of an impingement. I wore the cartilage thin on that AC joint, and it was just bone rubbing against muscle, Yeah. And all of us, and I'm just pushing, At that point, I'm like, no pain, no gain. Let's do this, Let's get another session in. We're good, we're strong, right? Until I wake up the next morning and I can't scratch my damn head.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I thought you were going to say something, can't scratch something else, but I was like, damn.
No.
PG.
Everything under here, I was good. I could scratch my ass if I wanted to.
But that's quite a common thing, and I think a lot of wheelchair basketball players go through impingements. You just sounded like you had a real severe case. But it's good for people to know.
I didn't take it seriously, and all the early indications, I didn't let anybody know. I just kept playing.
Cool. I think that covers pretty much all the sort of stuff we have on training. If you have any questions, please write in. We'll try and cover it in the next one. Just real quickly, I know this weekend we're filming this on the Friday, and I'm just watching Galatasaray playing London Titans in the Vagawan right now. Galatasaray is up massively. Quick predictions. There's a Vagawan Cup happening and the Brinkman happening.
Let me look at my phone because I don't know exactly what the pools are, and sorry for sounding uneducated in that. Let me look. All right, so we're talking about the Vagawan first?
Yeah, let's talk about the Vagawan first. That's happening in Bilbao.
Go Bilbao, home team.
Yeah.
Go Bilbao. My boy Josh Turk is on that squad, man, and that is one of the most proficient wheelchair basketball players I've ever had the opportunity and had the pleasure to play with. Shout out to Josh Turk. He's an incredible player, and I think he's going to lead them to a championship.
A championship? You mean the Vagawan or the Spanish championship?
Yeah, the Vagawan.
All right, okay.
We're only talking about Vagawan.
Okay. Jake,
you want me to go?
Yeah.
I mean, probably Galatasaray is going to win. I mean,
okay.
I don't know why Matt's having a hot take right now, but
I mean, that's my boy, man. Josh.
No, hey, Josh is my boy too, and so is what's the other Salazar.
Home team. Yeah. I mean, Oscar and some of them dudes are my boy too, man. Shout out to Roddy, shout out to Filipski, shout out all them dudes. I actually think that they're the favorite. But who doesn't like an underdog?
Well, Besiktas is in that too, and I know in the league they've had a couple of close games.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that's sort of because they can't play all their players in the Turkish league.
Right. Okay.
You know, you can only play a certain amount of players. I think Galatasaray might be better than Beşiktaş, well above it, but they're not able to use their entire roster and all that. So I mean, shout out to Galatasaray. I wish them luck. I hope they do great. But you know, I want Josh, man. He's been playing well his entire career. He deserves it.
Cool. Well, I'm picking Bilbao too. Spanish team. I think they're at home. I think they're gonna have their fans. They've got real good fans down there as well. So that'll be interesting. Right. And then we've got the Brinkman, which is happening in Sheffield, hosted by Sheffield.
I'm not picking a winner, man. I can't, man. You got Jorge, you got Jared, you got Phil, you got George. I ain't picking one.
Well, I'm picking Sheffield for that. I think we're gonna get it done.
I mean, I'm picking Gran Canaria. So
yeah.
I want to give a shout. I want to give a shout out to the homies. I hope they end up in the final.
Way to ride the fence. Hey, way to ride the fence.
Yeah,
I think Lacane is going to give one of those teams a go. Whoever they play in the semifinal, I think Lacane is going to give them a go.
Right. Well, shout out to all of them, man. I hope Jorge and Jared tear it up. I hope George and Phil. I hope they have a great tournament. Shout out to the homies.
So if you had to pick, say everyone has a 40-point game. Everyone plays amazing, man. Everyone's feeling real great. Make a pick.
Oh, man, come on. Why are you doing this to me?
I mean, you guys played against Sheffield.
Yeah, we did play against Sheffield, but they brought some ringers in, too, though. They have, like, Abdi and, like...
Abdi's at Sheffield.
Oh, he is? Oh, yeah. That's a good squad.
Yeah, Abdi's at Sheffield.
I like to play for... Man, it's so confusing. I don't know who's on whose team.
Yeah, I don't know who's on whose team. I just know Jorge and Jared. And I don't think it really matters who wins these tournaments, but all I know is Bucks in 7. Bucks in 7.
I don't know, man. Celtics at home.
I'm still hiding from this question. I'm not getting back to it.
Hey, Matt, I was watching Inside the NBA, and they were having a discussion about Milwaukee, and they were talking about the Riverwalk. You should have called in, man. I was expecting you to be on there, like talking about how great it is.
Hey, that would be awesome. Hey, you know what? If the Bucks go further and I get back to America, I might try to make some calls and see if I could plug myself into that game.
What do you mean if they win? What do you mean if they win?
I don't know, man. Terry Rozier.
Rozier owns Bledsoe.
Who? I don't know who that is.
He's gonna whoop that
ass.
Hey,
yo! Before we forget, we haven't done Goober of the Week yet.
Oh yeah.
Jake.
All right, so I think Goober of the Week is going to have to, since we're talking about injuries, you know those guys or girls that like fake like they're hurt and lay on the ground for 10 minutes, everyone just rolls their eyes. Now, if you're really hurt, like take all the time you want. But it's the same guys over and over again that just, I mean, some guys dive into you and then they stay on the ground like they're the ones that are hurt. I mean, so, I think those are just goobers that are just looking for attention. So, I mean, I don't like those guys. So that's got to be the Goober of the Week, man.
You had any experience of it in Germany this year?
There's a lot of experience of it in Germany. I mean, I know Matt personally had an experience. Someone, like, tackled him or something like that. And, I mean, Matt got up like nothing because, probably because he lifts all the time and, so.
No, but you know what? I definitely agree with you. I mean, that's definitely some goober behavior. But you kind of grow to expect it from some people, and it's not even like sometimes some people fall. You're just like, oh, here we go. It's a ceremony coming. And then there's other people that fall down, and if they're on the ground for more than half a second, then you should be concerned. You're like, oh, this person's really hurt because they've built that reputation up for being stronger than that. I think you know who the goobers are when they hit the ground.
Some guys throw their chairs around though on purpose as well.
Say what now?
Yeah, some guys throw their chairs around on purpose too.
Oh, a lot of that.
Mm.
Pressure bust pipes, man. Pressure bust pipes.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe they're trying to get in your head or something though by laying on the ground.
Is there a specific example that's in your head to give this Goober of the Week, Jake?
Mine? No.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to think of one. I can't off the top of my head, though.
No.
No, I mean, I really can't off the top of my head. I know Matt had a situation earlier this year.
Hey, not only does my man get super passive aggressive, he throws me under the bus. He's like, no, I'm gonna be passive aggressive about this, but Matt won't.
Yeah, hey Matt, who was it that did that to you that time?
I don't know, Matt. Who was it?
You know what? It has happened a couple times in our season. That's for sure. That definitely has happened a couple times.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
We're a peaceful podcast.
Of course. You make love, not war.
Shout to everybody. Shout to everybody.
And if you're pretending to be hurt on the floor just to gather yourself, catch your breath because you haven't done the training before the game, you need to catch a little breath. Okay.
Yeah. You know what? When we share this, if there's any, like, because I know photography and wheelchair basketball is getting huge, right? Like, a lot of people are, starting to even just kind of just isolate themselves just for these wheelchair basketball games and stuff. So, like, if you have, like, a funny picture of somebody laying on the ground unnecessarily, that would be awesome. Send it in so we could, like, put it as a picture of this podcast.
but how do you know if they're laying down unnecessarily? Just
that's
everybody
true.
knows.
Everybody knows.
Everybody knows.
Like,
Hey, that would be hilarious. I know we've been gone for a long time, but obviously this is a big part of the season, man. Gaz has got big games coming up. Me and Jake have had big games coming up. We want to keep this consistency up, and we want to keep the communication going and giving you guys content. It's just that man, it's hot times right now, man. We're going for gold, so
for sure.
We'll be getting back to you guys, man.
No doubt. On that note, I think that's another episode in the books. I'm out. The tank bro himself, Jake Williams over there looking grumpy the whole podcast.
Bucks in 7. Bucks in 7.
Jaylen Brown, man. Jaylen Brown.
Why are you saying these Goobers, man? Like
Jaylen Brown? Goober, really?
Hey, if you were a real one, you would have made the Boston Celtics the Goober of the week. If you were a real one.
Yeah, but they didn't do any Goober.
Oklahoma. What do you think about the Oklahoma?
Come on, man. You got to stick with Westbrook, man. And he had a couple bad games. But he responded.
Do you think he's going to have 3 straight good games?
What now?
Do you think he can have 3 straight great games? That's what they need to do because they were down 3-1, right? So now it's 3-2. So they need to win tonight.
Man, I'm a Westbrook fan. Man. He plays
Ricky Rubio got in his head, man. Ricky Rubio got in his head.
I know.
Yeah, what was that about? Do you ever have that? Actually, that's interesting. Do you ever get that? Like if you compare like Ricky Rubio to Westbrook, and Ricky Rubio, like, he shouldn't even be registering in his head. He should be talking about Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah.
It'll be like me talking about
that you completely outclass and they get on your nerves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That constantly happens to me. I can't get over it. I swear to God, it happens to me all the time. I don't even want to. Jake knows better.
Oh my God,
man! Anybody that's played with me knows that happens to me constantly, man. Yeah, it's just like they're not even on your radar, and you're just bothered by them. Like, I mean, it happens to me on a consistent basis.
Social media is making you a worse person.
Ricky Rubio, hey, that's why I feel for Westbrook. I'm like, yo, there's so many Ricky Rubios rolling around in this sport.
Oh man.
Hey man, we got practice, bro. We got
all right.
We gotta go, man.
Later.
All right, later, bro. All right.